So when it comes to dealing with your personal tax return, the first step is, well, what did I earn for the year? And income covers a wide range of things. So obviously your salaries and wages, and your employer will lodge that with the tax office. So that will generally be pre-filled. What you used to get a payment summary in paper, which you had to get by the 14th of July, will now automatically turn up in your MyGov account. Similarly, traditional investment income like bank interest, dividends, managed funds and ETF income, they're all generally, as far as the income is concerned, they're generally reported quite well by the banks and fund managers. So you'll generally find they are relatively accurately pre-filled. Where you get managed funds or ETF distributions, it is always a good idea to double check back to your AMIT statement, which you'll get from the fund manager. Some of this stuff won't be available for some time. So if you're trying to get your tax return done early, you may find that some of this information is not available. It's getting faster. Historically, if you had investments in property trusts, or REITs as they're called now, real estate investment trusts, they're often late because working out how much of the distribution was tax deferred is a relatively complex question. So you may need to wait some time for that. If you got made redundant during the year, or got paid out annual leave or long service leave, you may have a lump sum or termination payment. And again, that should be pre-filled, but always worth double checking the calculation. If you work for a tech company or some other company that's got a share scheme, you may have had shares that vest this year. You should get an ESS statement from your employer. And it's certainly worth following that up. You may have a rental property. That's probably where it starts getting a little bit complicated. The income side's clear, but when we come to the deductions, that's a little tricky. And don't forget that rental property includes the rent you charge your flatmate. And if you put your apartment on Airbnb while you went away for holidays, that's income too, and the tax office will know. Foreign income, just because it arose out overseas, doesn't mean the tax office doesn't know about it, so don't forget that. Cryptocurrency, anyone who's had a crypto account probably got a letter from the tax office in the last month or so saying, we know you have a crypto account and you didn't return this on your 2023 tax return, please explain. So be careful there. That's fairly complicated for many coins. Certainly if you go beyond the traditional Bitcoin or Ethereum, it can get complicated. Definitely worth checking out Coinly or some of these other accounting systems if you're doing that seriously. And of course, capital gains. Now, these ones are not pre-filled in your super fund, and if you've sold some shares, you'll need to work out your capital gain. And that's not as straightforward as it might seem, particularly if you've been dollar cost averaging and putting in regular amounts to buy small parcels, or you tick the dividend reimbursement plan box. You may end up with lots of small parcels of shares with different cost bases. And if you've rebalanced and sold a small part of your holding, you may need to do a bit of work to work out what your gain was. And that's where a tool like ShareSite can come in very handy to tell you what your capital gain actually was and to give you some advance heads up of what your capital gain would be if you made this transaction. For those of you here with a paid Life Sherpa membership, you get a free ShareSite account. Go to Basecamp and check that out. So that's all of the income stuff. Most of this stuff is pre-filled. So most fund managers, investment houses, banks, exchanges report to the tax office. So We may have a self-assessment system, so nobody is checking the numbers when you submit them, but they will get checked and you may need to support them at some time. So you need to make sure that you've got a supportable, reasonably arguable position when you lodge your tax return.